Hi everyone, welcome back, or welcome to Lone Pine Tarot if this is your first visit here, but either way, thank you for joining me for our pick a card reading today, which I am super excited for because it's kind of a twist on a blessing reading, but instead of asking broadly what blessing is coming your way, we are specifically honing in on the blessing of blockages clearing, aka an obstacle that is leaving your life soon. So with that being said, let us choose our piles. As you can see, I've already pre-selected the pile leader for each today. Over here on the left for pile 1, your leader is Evolve. Here in the middle for pile 2, your leader is Luminous. And last but not least, for our wonderful pile 3 on the right, we have Blossom. All right, pile 1, Evolve, pile 2, Luminous, pile 3, Blossom. Though, as I always say, you are perfectly welcome to pause on this part of the reading if you need more time to decide. But when you are ready, you've meditated on it, you've trusted your intuition, followed your gut, what drew your eye first, whatever method you prefer, drop down to the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile, and I will see you in our fun, exciting chat on the obstacle leaving your life soon. See you in your reading, everyone. Hi, pile number 1. Welcome to your obstacle clearing reading. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Evolve as your pile leader. Very gorgeous figure with not only a very cute little black cat next to her, but as you can see, she has monarch butterfly wings. So very symbolic of the idea of evolving, as, you know, butterflies are representations of rebirth, new change, new things growing from the old, etc. So we'll keep those themes in mind as we go through your reading and see what obstacle is clearing. But first, let's put your pile leader over to the left like always, and then we will draw your other oracle cards to begin. So, of course, calling on a spirit for your highest, best good. Can we look into pile 1 today? The obstacle that is clearing for them soon. Thank you. And then here is the first tea leaf, and I'll reveal them now as we draw them. So you have Grasshopper, situations in the balance that require careful handling. So that is numero uno. Let's look at the second tea leaf for you today, pile 1. I always split this deck into 2 because it's just a very, very big deck. Like literally, if I put them all together, it would be about this thick. So I always do it in 2s. All right, and this one I'm feeling drawn to for you. So we have Flag. Do not be tempted to lower your standards. All right, so Grasshopper, we have Flag as the first 2 oracle cards. We'll just kind of adjust those here. And then we have 2 more decks to look at before, of course, your main tarot spread too, but we will do the Lantern Oracle next. So we have themes of evolving, of rebirth, situations in the balance that require handling, and a situation about not being tempted to lower your standards. And then the next hint from the Lantern Oracle is, oh, we have a gateway. Speaking of being kind of on the threshold of the new, like your Evolve card your pile leader was talking about, it says the can't talk today. I was going to say the 5. Number 5, the unknown. There, I got it out with knowing the unknown. So, you know, I wonder if a lot of you, this might be related to something you've been just on the precipice of. Maybe you have been considering starting something new or starting a new chapter in your life. That's kind of the themes I'm seeing here, but I almost wonder if you're not quite sure how to handle this new thing because, you know, like the Grasshopper talks about, it's like something in the balance that requires careful handling. And then also the Flag. Like maybe you're a little bit worried about this path taking you to like a lower standard of living. Maybe you're kind of worried about like money, for example, in terms of like a lower standard of living, or maybe that's kind of your fear too, is that life is just changing in general. Maybe that's why you were drawn to Evolve as your pile leader, and you're having that fear of the unknown, and you're like, oh God, are my standards of living going to lower? Like, how am I going to balance this, handle this, etc. I mean, that might not resonate with all of you, but at least based on the cards so far, that is what I'm hearing intuitively as to what the situation is about. And then we have, okay, well, what do you know? Talking about worrying, we have overthinking with Nature Spirits, number 46. Okay, pile 1. Definitely some anxiety and worry on your mind recently. That card is quite blunt about it. Basically, I wonder if you might get the 9 of Swords when we do your tarot spread. That would not shock me because that is a perfect kind of overthinking anxiety card. We'll see, of course, when we draw your tarot spread, but for sure, yeah, this... I don't know. I think a lot of you are on this precipice of change and you're a little bit worried about what happens after the leap of faith. Now, as I said, some of you, it might be this fear of, like, you're wanting to start something new, but you're kind of just like, man, I don't know what's going to happen after I take that leap of faith. And some of you, it's like you're not 100% sure you want this new development to occur. And so it's like that double whammy of anxiety of, this is changing too fast for me and I'm not sure how I'm going to handle this change. Okay. So I kind of see this pile 1 into almost 2 groups. Of course, I'll read for like everybody in general, like I do with this pile, but I'm already kind of seeing a separation there between how this might resonate with some of you. Okay. So yes. And then 2, I think of grasshoppers in terms of almost like locusts, and locusts when they have, like say a plague of locusts, like we hear about from, folklore and whatnot. And it does happen in real life too. It's not just folklore, but locusts come and they eat a lot of things. They kind of will just tear down crops to the root and like leave you without anything. So I almost wonder too if some of you are kind of worried about like resources too. Maybe that's kind of leaning into that standards of living worry. So I think we will see with your tarot cards. I'm pretty sure though that this area of your life, whatever you feel is resonating with what I just said within, the past whatever minutes I was explaining your oracle card, I think that's where this obstacle is going to clear. Now, the obstacle might literally be your fear. Maybe you get something or realize something and you're like, oh, I don't have to be afraid of this change anymore, or I feel more confident in taking this leap of faith, whatever pool you kind of stood in terms of whether you wanted this change or not, right? It could also be an obstacle clearing of, say, like for those of you that want this thing to happen, but you're kind of afraid of this leap of faith, maybe this obstacle has been like the one thing that's been holding you back. It's very possible that that might be the thing that's clearing for you too. Okay. So let's, speaking of, draw those tarot cards and ask Spirit to help us see more of this and see more about like where this is coming from and also where it's going. Of course, like the main theme is, well, what's the literal obstacle clearing? I think we kind of seen a hint, but tarot will give us the more specific details, I think. I am hearing, though, pile 1, intuitively as I'm drawing your cards, that you don't need to be afraid of the unknown. Okay, so we have first up the Queen of Swords reversed. Can kind of hint at maybe some over-worrying and overthinking, just like your Ask Your Guides Oracle card at the top said. Could also mean that you yourself are a feminine air sign. That can be the way that Queen of Swords comes to fruition in terms of people in the spread or people in the situation. Then we have another court card, but it's the King of Sticks or Wands, as it's known in most decks, reversed. Lacking confidence. Okay, yep, no wonder why we've probably been overthinking this situation. We're not quite sure how to navigate. It's kind of the swampy area. Everything seems kind of muddled together. Everything... Oh, even, I just noticed this, too. You see at the bottom here? There's like these swamp creatures you have. I'm not sure if that's an alligator or a crocodile. I don't live in an area with those, but I can never tell the difference between them. Anyone that does, feel free to weigh down in the comments below. But it's a baby one at least, so it's not quite as scary as if it was like a big old granddaddy crocodile, right? But then you also have a snake over here. It's like having the confidence to navigate through this, but because you got it reversed, that means there's like this blockage here, especially because it's in the recent past position. So it's something that you didn't plan for, something that you didn't expect, or you've been having a hard time trying to figure out logically, how do I go about this? That's that energy of the Queen of Swords reversed. And then especially the confidence came in, or I should say didn't come in, because you're like, uh-oh, there's this snake in my path, there's this baby crocodile over here, am I going to get snapped at, am I going to get bit? Metaphorically speaking, with things that you're worried about. Let's keep going. And then we have the 10 of Cups reversed. Okay. Now that can mean that we're currently, because this is your present position and also the heart of the matter I call my central card of my spread, that can mean that we're kind of mired in this feeling of this is not the happily ever after I was looking for, especially because it's reversed. So no wonder why you came to this reading, pile 1. You're like, This is really scary because that's really the main feeling I'm picking up on intuitively from you is a feeling of fear. You're like, oh man, what's going to happen? Especially that fear of the unknown, like I was talking about there with your Lantern Oracle card over here on the right. Huh. Well, let's look into the future though. Oh, another thing too. It can also mean with the Ten of Cups reversed in the central heart of the matter position that there might be like a relationship that's been kind of unsteady recently too, because the cup suit in tarot tends to, well, number one, it talks about our emotions, but also about our relationships and our connections with other people being one of the water cards. And also, even though the King of Wands is technically a fire card, I mean, he's walking through a swamp, kind of watery area, right? So yeah, no wonder why. No wonder why you're nervous, pile one. Okay, let's go into the future. So we'll see now what's the obstacle that's clearing for sure. We have, look at that. I told you, I was like, I would not be shocked if the Nine of Swords came up when the Overthinking card came out. And look at that, you have the Nine of Swords, or, well, Blades, it's known in this particular deck. But, yep, pile one, that makes 100% sense. The Nine of Swords is, I am anxious. We are mired in worry. We are not sure how things are going to go, but I will tell you this, because this is in the future position. In a blessing reading like this, I read typically negative cards like that in a way of, especially if they're in the 4th or the 5th position, I read them in a way of like, that's what's going to clear, that's the blessing coming, or the obstacle specifically with this reading. So that means your anxiety is part of the obstacle that's going to clear. Obviously, usually when we do have our anxiety clear, I mean, sometimes it's from outside sources, which, like, something resolves and we're like, oh, okay, I don't need to be anxious anymore. Sometimes it's just literally something happens in our energy and we realize, well, we don't have to be so anxious or worried about this anymore. So we'll see what comes out with the final outcome card too. And we have the Eight of Swords. So the one right before the the Nine of Swords here, but reversed. And the Eight of Swords is actually pretty good to get reversed, at least the way I'm reading it with this kind of reading, pile one. And what that means, I mean, it's kind of cliche because literally this whole reading is, well, how is your path clearing? And then look at the card that you just got. They're literally clearing a path. Looks like there just had been a storm, and it looks like, you know, there's some trees that had fallen down. Some of the path kind of maybe got washed out from the rain and whatnot. Now, upright, that would, the way I tend to read the Eight of Swords is like, oh, we're still kind of trapped in that energy, but reversed, like you got it, because it's more positive, in my opinion, when it's reversed. This is this freeing sensation. So basically the obstacle clearing is the freeing of anxiety, to read these two together at the end here, okay? Something happens that allows your anxiety to go away. Now, what I'm curious about is what mechanism that is. So I'm going to ask that specifically, because really what Spirit has been saying so far is the obstacle clearing is more like the internal effects of the obstacle clearing, but let's ask what happens literally in order for that to come to fruition. So, Spirit, can you tell me more about like the literal mechanism by which this clears this obstacle for them? We have the Seven of Cups reversed. That one's kind of tricky. Let me see. I'll pull out the other two, and then that will give us more. Oh, and then we have Judgment reversed with the Grand Canyon National Park. Something about a lack of judgment. Something about, because this is a blessing reading, like I said, or obstacle clearing reading, it's normally what would be a negative reversal is, I read, as the thing that's going to be moving away. And then, yeah, the Two of Swords reversed. I feel like there's some aspect of the situation for you, pile one, where a lot of you, what's really been holding you back is kind of yourself. And I don't mean that as in like, I mean, if you have a literal obstacle in your way, like say it's like resources or finances, and you've been trying your absolute hardest, that's not for like me or Spirit saying, well, you need to work harder. Like, don't take it that way. But what I mean is I think from these cards, especially because you have so many swords cards, which is air in tarot, which is about the mind, a lot of what has been holding you back is literally just your own like anxiety and your own mind. So what that tells me, pile one, just to kind of translate that down into like a tangible, how does this clear? I think the thing that you're worrying about probably will not come to pass. I think this is a situation where a lot of this is just, like your Ask Your Guides Oracle talked about, overthinking. I think maybe you're seeing monsters where there aren't any, in terms of like for example, you might sit there and you might worry about, okay, this new change is coming, or this new thing that I want to do is coming, and I'm not sure if I want to take the leap, or I'm being forced to take the leap and I'm kind of scared about it. Like, it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. I think you're going to find a lot more blessings along the way than you expected. And looking at these cards here, as I said, are like the physical. I asked Spirit, like, what's the physical, literal way that this obstacle clears? There's something here about letting go of fear of judgment, because literally judgment can be what it says on the tin, judgment. But I also read it as like a level up card, so that it can also mean that like something levels up in a way that you don't necessarily expect. Apologies for the loud motorcycle in the background. Anyways, something levels up in a way that you don't necessarily expect, and it's related to something becoming more solidified in terms of direction, especially because of the Seven of Cups reversed, because that's usually about deliberating between what direction we want to take, what road or what dream do we want to follow. And then the Two of Swords reversed can mean, okay, we finally have made a choice of some sort. Or it could be also that maybe part of your anxiety is you're waiting on a decision from someone else. That's very possible too. And so that's one example where, like, yes, it makes total sense that, you'd be anxious because it's out of your control. So maybe it's that fear of like, okay, what are they going to decide? What are they going to do? Someone finally makes a choice, and it's one that does not enact as much judgment as you think it will. And or with the level up interpretation of the judgment card that I like to use, it's not going to change as much as you thought it would for those of you that are fearing a change of some sort that was kind of forced upon you, or you fear that it will be. Okay, for those of you that want something to start to do something new and you're worried about it and you're like, man, I don't know. I want this evolving. I want this change, but I don't know if I'm brave enough to take that leap. Then your description is more kind of in terms of you're kind of just getting in your own way a little bit too much with that situation. For those of you that resonate more with that kind of interpretation, where it's like, as long as you let go of the fear of judgment, I think that will help you clear out that feeling of being trapped. That will bring you to the blessing or the obstacle clearing of the Eight of Swords as your final outcome reversed, as in, okay, now, like, it's kind of like walking on your own path here. Like, you're the person walking down that trail that we saw in the Eight of Swords card, and really the tree in your way and the washout of the trail in your way was just like your own anxiety, making it seem like there were monsters that were there, but that really weren't. Okay, so things like that. So for those of you that are worried about like having enough resources too, because we did kind of see that a little bit with the grasshopper and the flag, once again, I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. So just as you go forward in the future here, I know the situation might look bleak or it might look a little bit scary right now, but this reading kind of screams to me as a tarot reader that it's really not going to be as bad as you're expecting. Okay, so really the obstacle clearing is, if I just summarize it, is number one, the obstacle of anxiety finally dissipating in your own mind, if that's more of what's been the issue, and or also the obstacle of what looked like a massive, really scary change on the surface actually being more of a tiny change than you expected. Okay. It's kind of like, speaking of, this is very relevant to right now, because where I live right now, we're facing like literally, I don't know, 1 foot to 2 feet of snow within the next 2 days. It's kind of like when you get that weather forecast and you think, oh God, this giant snowstorm is going to just dump 2 feet of snow on me, or, this massive weather event is coming my way, depending on where you live. I know not everyone really gets snow like we do here, and then like, people catastrophize and you see like headlines about it on like the local news about, oh, this big storm's coming this way, and then you get there and it's just kind of limp. It's just kind of like, well, that was nothing. Like, they said it was going to be 2 feet of snow, and really it was more just like half of that, like a foot, or that storm wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. So it's kind of like that. I wonder, I don't know, in general though, Pile One, when you get there, the obstacle clearing is just the realization of, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So especially for those of you that want to change or want to have something new occur, like you're eager for that part, but you're afraid of taking a leap of faith, that's also a nudge from Spirit with this reading to just take the leap of faith anyways, because it's not going to be as scary as you think it will be. In fact, it actually might be kind of fun. because especially when you're doing new things, you know, starting a new project, starting a new business, moving somewhere, whatever it might be for you, I don't know, I think it's going to be a lot more fun than you expect it to be, okay? So beautiful. That was your reading today on the obstacle that is clearing for you soon, the obstacle of anxiety and things not being as bad as they seem right now, okay? I hope that reading helped you. I hope that you liked it. I hope that, of course, it resonated with your situation, pile number 1. And if so, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you so much if you choose to do those things. And as we say in our traditional Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, pile 1. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading on the obstacle clearing for you soon. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to one of the most beautiful cards in this deck, in my opinion, Luminous, with the crescent moon and of course the very beautiful Luna moth on top. I've only ever seen the Luna moth once in real life, personally, but when you do see them, it is very magical. They're very, very beautiful creatures. So with that being said, we'll put your gorgeous Luna moth over here to the left. And let's begin your reading with your other oracle cards. So, of course, calling on Spirit for your highest, best good. Tell us more about the obstacle clearing soon from pile 2's life. Thank you. Well, there you go. We have one already popping out. We have handshake. A meeting with a stranger could be important. So actually that kind of adds a bit of an element of seeming randomness to how this obstacle might clear for you. Because when we meet with a stranger, it's something we don't necessarily expect. I mean, I suppose sometimes you can expect it, right, pile 2? Like, maybe you have a meeting planned, but you haven't met that person before. Let's keep going. I'm very curious here. Okay, that one almost popped out, but, well, there we go. And then we have flowers with happiness. Okay, well, that's also a really good sign. So we have a handshake and flowers. Meetings with a stranger, or one meeting, singular, with a stranger could be important. And flowers with happiness. Meeting with someone. Happiness. Okay. Let's look at your Ask Your Guides Oracle next. And I'm feeling kind of drawn to this one for you. Ooh, we have another flower, but it's a lotus, I believe, with abundance and joy guides. I don't know, lots of really positive signs here, pile 2. I mean, I know obviously like this reading is always going to be a positive reading because it's like literally we're asking what obstacle is clearing for you, but look at all these happy signs. We have abundance and happiness as main keywords. Now, something about a meeting with a stranger, of course, but maybe abundance where you've been lacking abundance recently. Maybe that's been causing an obstacle in your life. Let's keep going. And then we have the absolutely wonderful Lantern Oracle. I love this deck. Ooh. Speaking of clearing your way, we have literally a card of moving forward, number 28. The first step is taken within our stillness. And when this card comes up, pile 2, I will tell you, this is a card of things making progress in A, very unexpected ways, but also B, things making progress with steps we take before we even realize that we've taken that step, or like, it's like you don't understand at the time that that obstacle is clearing or that you've taken a step towards getting that out of your path so that you can make progress, but then you look at it in retrospect and you're like, oh, so that really is what set that all off, of that chain reaction of events that caused that obstacle to move out of my path. And 2, you know, when you think about even the symbolism of that particular card, here, I'll hold it up again. She is walking in a desert. And typically we think of deserts as places of lack, just because, I mean, you know, you're walking through sand, it's very hot, not a lot of water. We always associate as humans with abundance as in being, you know, close to verdancy and water, rivers, lakes, etc. So I feel like right now, and even when you look at the horizon, I can't ever tell on this card if it is, you know, it almost does look like water on the horizon, and or it's at least green. So it's like healthy land in terms of like there's lots of things that grow there and grass and resources, etc. And then, yeah, she's back here right now in the desert, but she's moving forward towards that abundance, towards that greater prosperity. So what I will say, after I described all that. I promise I had a point. It's almost like you are moving from this lack here towards a place where things are greener and pastures are greener, okay? Things are better for you because of something having to do with meeting with a stranger, perhaps. There's also a lot about light, because number one, we have luminous, which is literally means something that is light or shining, of course. But then even here in the moving forward, she's walking towards the sun here in abundance. At the very top of the lotus, there's like a star shining. So whatever you've been going through recently, pile 2, I feel like this might just not be like specifically one specific obstacle. It might be more a broad clearing in your life towards greater happiness. Now, your tarot cards will provide, of course, more specific details. And speaking of, I'll shuffle those right now as I talk, but this doesn't feel like a tiny obstacle. This feels like a really big one that it's like your whole landscape changes, is what it feels like to me. Yeah, because even when you look at the handshake card, I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, pile 2, but down here, it's almost like... Oh, that's weird. So there's one hand up here that's reaching from the clouds, and it almost looks like a crescent moon at the very top. And then the hand down here is reaching with the earth behind it. I don't know if you can pick that up on camera, and the sun behind it once again, and then it almost looks like there's a little tiny globe there that's like the moon. Like the actual moon that like revolves around the earth, like the rock, right? So, oh, there's so much about like suns and like things getting brighter or like objects that make things lighter. Huh. Sorry, I'm just kind of weaving together that symbolism, but that's really cool. I guess what I mean is especially pointing out the earth there, though, beneath one of the hands, especially the one that's being helped. It's what I was saying before. It's like your whole landscape changes in some way, and that's really like just the major obstacle, I feel. Then we have the page. God, look at that. I was just talking about landscapes, and look what just popped up. She's literally painting a landscape pile, too. That's really cool. I kind of got chills there. And then also, yeah, this person down here is also drawing a landscape. Okay, let's call synchronicity. Anyways, kind of gobsmacks me. I'm like, ooh, neat. And then, so yeah, the Page of Wands reversed as your inciting incident, the first card, can mean... Yeah, Page of Wands reversed. It can mean that we have been trying to make progress, especially when it comes to creative projects, because, I mean, she's literally painting something, but Wands and Tarot is fire, which was related to creative projects. Also things that are like our ambitions, our willpower, trying to power through things that have maybe been blocking us before. This being your inciting incident card, pile 2, it tells me that this has been the issue so far. So I think for a lot of you, maybe not every single one of you, but this blockage, this obstacle, has been blocking some creative or ambition-related project in your life. Some of it might even be because of the size of this blessing. Like I said, it's almost like a whole landscape changing. It's... Oh, I wonder if some of you have, like, writer's block or, like, artist's block or whatever block. There's so many different names for it depending on what's your creative medium. But I think a lot of you, maybe you have had that kind of block. Then I'm almost saying that that's the obstacle that's going to free for you, or some project you've just been really passionate about. And you might have felt like a lack of ideas or a lack of inspiration for it. But then all of a sudden this obstacle clears and you're like, okay, now I have all this inspiration. Look at this landscape around me. And I almost wonder, pile 2, if landscape has come up so much in this reading because there's almost like this external move or thing that happens. Maybe it's literally meeting with a stranger that inspires you in some way, even if it's not like a literal physical move of some sort. And it's like, that's the key that just like clicks it into place. And then all of a sudden you get this wellspring of like abundant energy and like creativity. And you're like, oh my God, it's almost, I don't know, it's like you've been kind of walking through, this is what I'm seeing intuitively. You've been walking through life with this kind of like gray filter on everything. It's like, I mean, not bad, maybe necessarily, but it feels kind of uninspired. You're kind of like, meh. It's like that meh. You go through those plateaus in life. Things just aren't very exciting. And then all of a sudden you get to this new place and you look around and you're like, oh my God, here's all these colors. Where have these colors been my whole life? Or whatever, how long you've been suffering with whatever this is. And then that inspires you and that gives you all this more energy to be either creative or go forward with your ambitions. Well, that's really cool. Okay, I haven't even got your other tarot cards yet, but that's at least what I'm picking up on intuitively. And then we have the Two of Swords reversed. Okay, can mean that we've also had some issues with indecisiveness. Or also, as the recent past card in this particular spread, it can mean... sometimes the Two of Swords means that we finally did make a decision when it's reversed. Like we got out of that stalemate. But I'm curious, though. Let's see what your middle card is before I say more, because that'll... well, speaking of landscapes again, and deserts, okay. And suns, look at that. Sometimes that'll tell more about the card previous with the one that is next to it. So now we have death, which doesn't always literally mean death. Most of the time it does not in tarot. And we literally have Death Valley National Park, which most of the time, pile 2, is, well, it's called Death Valley for a reason. There's a lot of heat. It's deserty, it's sandy, etc. But every once in a while, and I think most deserts are like this. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't live near a desert, as you can maybe tell by my accent. I sound a little bit more northern, right? But every once in a while, the rain comes, and then they get like what's called, I think it's called a super bloom. I think that's what they're called. And it's like all of a sudden what used to look like this really desolate place, or gray as I was describing, right, changes. And it's like, oh, we're all these colors, all these plants, this new growth. Like, where is this coming from? And then literally we have flowers too. I just remembered from your tea leaves. It's like, I don't know. Like, I'm sorry I'm not pinning down anything specific, pile 2, but I really think this obstacle clearing is just like a whole change in how your life is going in terms of trajectory. Is what I'm feeling, because of there's so many like landscape and like symbolisms around moving from this really desolate place to all of a sudden, boom, here's all these flowers and these gorgeous colors, and you know, things are abundant where they weren't before. Oh, and then we have the King of Swords. Can mean, now especially because you did get a card specifically mentioning meeting with a stranger, a King of Swords, my friends, can be a person that is masculine energy and or has a lot of air sign energy in their astrological chart. So, of course, you know, their sun sign might be, you know, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, etc. Or they might also have a lot of those air placements in other places in their charts, not just in their sun sign. Or in general, they can be someone who's just very intelligent, or maybe you met them through schooling. School is also associated with the swords cards in terms of places, because it is the air or like the mental suit. University, if not just specifically a school, or it could also mean like while you're learning something, that's how you meet them. It's just like you associate them in some way with learning. I wonder if that's the stranger you're going to meet, if that King of Swords doesn't necessarily mean just you. And then too, you know, I just realized this, how many cards we have of people helping each other. You can see this right here. Like this guy is helping this lady. He's like pointing out this thing, and she's like, oh, I didn't notice that was there. Now I'm going to paint that too. Like he's giving her inspiration. He's showing her like, this is where you go. This is what you do. Or like, this is what you should paint. And then also too, in the Two of Swords, same thing. It's this man helping this woman learning how to ice skate. So I almost wonder if this is a mentor of some sort for you. That's another way that a King of Swords can manifest, pile 2, because it is, you know, masculine energy, but also someone who is air energy in terms of like intelligence and learning, communication, those things. Professor, a teacher of some sort, or some class you take, you meet them there. And they're really going to help you in some way in showing you where to find this way of living that helps you see these brand new colors of that, like that metaphor we were talking about before. And then let's see, as the final card, the Six of Stones or Pentacles, which is all about fairness in finances, fairness in charity, things being equally distributed, things being balanced. Again, that's another really good term to use. So once again, air sign, and then we have the card of balance. Makes me wonder, maybe they're a Libra sun sign, very potentially, I don't know. But at the same time, even if that's not the way you would interpret that, with that in connection to who the stranger might be, pile 2, I think it'll affect your finances just in a little bit of a way too, where things just feel a little bit more balanced. Things feel a little bit more fair in terms of, well, it also means too possibly that this meeting with this stranger could actually help you through an act of charity, because as I said, that's another key word that's associated with the Six of Pentacles. So I don't know. I think a lot of you, the obstacle clearing is this blockage you've had regarding mostly like your energy and your way of gaining abundance, and your way of energy blockages that you've had with like creativity, as we were talking about before, or some sort of thing that you're trying to achieve that's like related to your ambitions as well, because that's another place that, or thing that the Wands suit and tarot revolves around, like your inciting incident card had wands, right? And so that blockage clears, I think, mainly through the mechanism of this person. This person's coming along. They're that teacher, professor kind of energy person, even if they're not literally a teacher or a professor, or they're a mentor in some way, and they help you through an act of charity. Okay, and that clears this blockage and helps you see life in this new way, or helps you move forward. And at the time, it doesn't seem like this mundane thing that they help you with is going to make that big of a change, pile 2. Because like I said, the moving forward card, that's always a card I see in my readings. When it pops up, I'm like, okay, I know what this is. It's grand movement forward that at the time just seems like a tiny little step. It's kind of like when children learn how to walk. You know, for them and, you know, for the parent of that child, at first it kind of just seems like, oh, you know, good, we got that one little step going. We managed to take one step after crawling. But then that trajectory moves exponentially, and all of a sudden they're running around within a few years. It's one of those things where it's like one step turns into quite a bigger run than you expected, going farther than you expected. So don't overlook whatever this person coming into your life is giving you, because it's going to lead to a lot more than you're expecting. Just like it seems like a baby step, but it might help you actually run again in some way, okay? Beautiful. Look at this reading pile, too. This is really cool. I especially love all the symbolism that came out, especially with the, like all the landscape stuff. Because literally I was talking about like, oh, landscape, she's going to a better landscape. Things are going to get more verdant again. And then all of a sudden the first tarot card is literally they're painting an actual landscape. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I love when those things come up. And then too, with the desert metaphor that popped up with moving forward, and then you got Death Valley as your death card, or as your also your Heart of the Matter card here. Things becoming abundant again. The rain comes, and all of a sudden it's like what seemed so desolate before, it never would grow anything. You get this super bloom, and you're like, oh, maybe I did find someplace better than I was before. So gorgeous. Okay. Awesome. That was your reading for today, pile number 2 on the obstacle that is clearing for you. I'm so happy for you. This looks awesome. And yeah, I think that's everything. I make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think so. So expect happiness. And don't be afraid to meet with this stranger. Okay? I think they'll bring a lot to your life that you're not even expecting. Okay, so hope the reading helped you. I hope it resonated. I hope, of course, you liked it, number 1. And if so, please like the video, comment down below. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do those 3 things, or even just one. Every little bit helps too. And as we always say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile 2, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading on the obstacle leaving your life soon. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Blossom as your pile leader. Very beautiful, very green energy type of card. Makes me think of the heart chakra, but of course, growth as well. Even the figures in the picture, it almost looks like, I don't know, either a student and a teacher, or maybe like a mother and a daughter. One is handing a star to the other. And of course, with the idea of blossom, we think of planting seeds, helping them grow, or even in the way, you know, say it is a mentorship relationship. It's like, you know, helping a younger mind grow or something new grow in some way. So I almost wonder if this obstacle clearing might be related to something that you started recently that you've been trying to get growing, but you've been having some issues with. But we'll see, of course, with other details. We'll look at your other oracle cards and then, of course, your tarot spreads. So speaking of, let us draw your oracle cards. First, from Spirit, for the highest best good of pile 3 today, can you tell us more about this obstacle leaving their life soon? What's going on? What can I expect to move out of their way? Ooh, pin. Well, look at that. We have new job / career as the first card. And then let's draw from the other half of the tea leaves. So new job or career. Maybe some of you, this is related to some sort of like tailoring thing. Maybe making clothes. Being a, I don't know if the technical term anymore is like seamstress, but like tailoring, making clothing, fashion design perhaps. We'll keep going. That might not resonate with all of you. An interesting pile 1 had this tea leaf too. Flag. Do not be tempted to lower your standards. So especially for those of you, I almost am picking up on that some of you have recently maybe been searching for a job, maybe potentially in, say, fashion design or tailoring, making clothing, things like that. Or even if it's not that specifically, you've been just maybe looking for a new job or career. I wonder if you've been thinking recently, because of a struggle in your search, you're like, well, maybe I should just take a different job that's like lower than what I'm looking for, but it would still be a job to take in the meantime. I almost wonder if for some of you, this obstacle might be that you won't have to lower your standards to get the new job that you're looking for, or career in general. But let's keep going. We'll get all those nice details from Spirit. Then next up to bat, we have, interesting, boredom. But teacher guides, which is kind of that mentorship thing I was talking about with your Blossom card in number 23. Almost kind of looks like a constellation in the background, some of these. I wonder what constellations these are. I don't know if there's any technical real ones here. I'm not specifically picking out them, but there is constellations connecting lights together, making sense of the chaos of the universe. As our human brains like to do when we see chaos, we create patterns. And boredom. Yeah, I wonder if some of you have been looking for a job. Maybe that's where boredom comes from, in terms of like you've been kind of antsy, you've been kind of restless in terms of like, man, when am I going to get this job? Maybe you're so used to kind of that grind of 9 to 5, or I guess whatever hours that particular career that you're in typically uses. You've been sitting there bored and you've just had this time to think, and maybe it's been making you kind of anxious. Or it could also be too that some of you are currently in a career not looking for a job, but you're kind of bored with it. That could be another way, and or a way that resonates with you. And also too, with don't be tempted to lower your standards. Maybe you've been thinking, well, I don't know, this career is kind of getting boring to me because maybe it's too easy. Maybe you're the type of person that really like seeks something very stimulating and like new to your mind. I don't know, some of you have been considering a new career. Some of you are looking for a job, but boredom. And then we have the Lantern Oracle as your last oracle card today. Yeah, especially too with blossom, because it's like planting a new seed of something, waiting for something to blossom. Or two, if you are trying to start something new, like, or maybe you've already started this new job or like a new business of some sort, and you've been kind of sitting there waiting, looking at your watch. You're like, man, I'm so bored. When is this thing going to grow? Maybe that's also how that resonates for some of you in terms of you, like where this obstacle is going to clear. But yeah, let's keep going. And then we have Weeping Wound, number 8. I think I did mention the heart chakra with all the green there, didn't I? If I didn't, there's a lot of green in your pile leader card, which always makes me think of the heart chakra. And then she has a wound over her heart. It says, you are not your wounds. Ooh. It's either the loss of the job really wounded you in terms of your heart and your heart chakra, pile 3, or this thing that's not blossoming as quick as you want it to has been really wounding your heart. Or staying in this career or this job, if you're currently in one that you're bored with, has also been hurting your heart in some way. Oh, I wonder if for some of you, if you're in a career or a job that you hate, or like you feel you're just kind of bored with, I wonder if the obstacle clearing is literally like you, when you have the opportunity to like leaving that particular position as well. Maybe the obstacle clearing for you guys is literally an opportunity to do just that, is to leave. I don't know. Let's look at your tarot cards. Usually I would linger over your oracle cards a little bit longer. Oh, there goes my pencil at the bottom here. I would linger over your oracle cards a little bit longer, pile 3, but I don't know. I'm curious. Let's draw your tarot cards. Okay, well, there's number 1 that came flying out. So the first card is Temperance Reversed. We have, beautiful Zion National Park. And Temperance Reversed as the inciting incident card, the first position I like to call, is typically a card where we feel like something has been unbalanced or kind of shaky. It feels like things have just been either too much one way and not the other. It's also a card of feeling like there's been a lack of moderation. Maybe things in your life recently have felt very like ebb and flow, where it's been either a complete dry desert of opportunity or a dry desert of, like, say if you are in an interviewing process, you just feel like you've been not getting like any calls, and then all of a sudden maybe you got like a ton of calls back, but they were like jobs that you felt like if I took them, it would lower my standards for what I'm actually like looking for like my own best good and like in terms of the pay, etc. Or like same thing too with those of you maybe that have already started something new, be it a business or you did start the new career. It's like things have been kind of shaky or things have just been felt, I don't know. It's kind of like balancing a tightrope kind of card and like feeling like like, you know, whenever you see someone balancing on a tightrope at like, say, I guess they do that at a circus. I've never actually literally been to a circus, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but like they usually have like that balancing stick they hold while they're on the tightrope. Temperance reversed is like the stick is leaning too far one way and you feel kind of helter-skelter or kind of off-kilter. And it's like, it's hard to climb that path because it feels like everything is so uneven. Maybe things have been kind of chaotic too, pile 3. That's another term I would use with temperance reverse sometimes. Let's keep going. I'm very curious. I'm actually going to take the back card. We have then the 7 of Wands reversed, which is typically a card of defense, having to defend oneself. This particular deck kind of interprets it in the way of building like a lean-to or kind of like an outdoor shelter. But reversed, it's like being able to let go of that defense. Or sometimes it can mean like we failed to defend ourselves in some way, like something was just too overpowering. So for those of you that like you're bored with a certain job, it's like some of the boredom feels like it stems from like things are kind of unbalanced there. Things aren't as many highs and lows as there used to be. And then same thing too with the 7 of Wands reversed. It just feels like things are not quite as challenging and like mentally stimulating in terms of, I mean, I don't know what kind of job it would be where like defense comes into play, but maybe that makes more sense to you as you're watching this than it does to me specifically as the tarot reader. Sometimes I say things and I'm like, I have no idea how that'll apply. And then you guys comment and you're like, oh, it applies this way. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But something like that along those lines. Or for those of you that are like looking for a job and you haven't been able to get like the perfect call back for like the job that you want yet. The overpowering might have been when you were let go or fired or had to leave that job for whatever reason that you were leaving or let go. In which case, also here's another thing. I want you, for those of you that have lost a job and you're currently searching and you still feel bad about having lost the first job and you take it to heart. Speaking of weeping wound, maybe that's why you feel bad there. Maybe you kind of took it to heart a little bit too hard, which is not to blame you for that, pile 3. We all do that when we lose a job. We're like, oh my God, what did I do wrong? But I want, for those of you specifically that part of this reading resonates, I want you to know that this is Spirit basically saying it was not your fault. It was not anything that you could have done. Because temperance reversed means like things were kind of already out of balance at that particular job. And then the 7 of Wands reversed is literally like, it's either like you were too tired to defend yourself anymore. Like maybe there was a lot of hostile energy there perhaps, or it could also mean that it was just such an overpowering thing in terms of you defending yourself against losing that particular job or having to leave, that it was just like nobody could have fought that no matter how perfect of an employee they were. Okay. So just a little bit of a reassurance here from Spirit for those of you that applies to. And the same thing too, if you already started something new, maybe that's why you left and you're starting this new thing. You're like, I just got sick of this place that was unbalanced and I felt like I always had to defend myself and it made me feel weaker. It made me feel bored or just things like that. And then we have the 4 of Pentacles reversed. So these are people in, almost looks like Central Park in New York City, if I'm not mistaken. They're pointing out that bird up there. And the 4 of Pentacles reversed is usually about needing resources to be released for something. So that makes a lot of sense. Not too much needed to describe there. Those of you looking for a job, you want those resources released so you get that job. Those of you that started a new thing already, maybe you're kind of like watching your watch, as I was saying before, waiting for this thing to blossom. And you're kind of like, when are the resources going to be let go of or released to me? Maybe you're kind of even waiting for a loan of some sort. Maybe you're waiting for someone to pay you for something. That's another way that the 4 of Pentacles reversed can manifest. But so what I will say so far, pile 3, this is where the obstacle in your life is clearing, is something to do with whatever has been resonating so far in your life. Okay. Now, these future cards will tell us more about the obstacle itself or where it's going. We have the 8 of Pentacles upright, and you do have a lot of Pentacles so far. You have the 4 and now the 8, which makes me think, yes, this is probably for a lot of you related to job or career, which we already saw with the pin, right? But it's good to get that reassurance with the Pentacles cards. And the 8 of Pentacles is all about we've worked really hard at something. So speaking of blossoming, you literally have a synchronicity here where that was your pile leader, but we also have someone building a garden and helping it bloom and grow. For those of you that have been working really hard, I'm seeing the obstacle clearing in terms of you finally seeing the fruits of your labor, okay? It's like, for whatever reason, there was a blockage there in terms of this resource being released. Now, some of you that might be, getting sales in a new business you started, or for some of you that might be getting jobs that you've been interviewing for, etc., your hard work will pay off. That's what the Eight of Pentacles means. Now, it still can mean in the near future that you're still in the hard work phase. Okay, so it might not be like an immediate fix. Okay, it's not like we didn't get the, like say if we gotten the Nine of Pentacles in that position, I would have been like, okay, that fruits of your labor reward is coming very quickly here. But I don't know, I think you're going to see some signs soon. It feels like just like a longer, like slower progression, but that doesn't mean that there's no progression whatsoever, okay? It's very, very good sign to see. And, because they've already harvested a little bit, they have a basket of, say, like carrots, and it almost looks like apples there, too. And also, for those of you that have been working on, like, 2 things at once, I know this is kind of a weird side tangent, but I'm hearing this intuitively. For those of you that have been working on 2 things at once, I feel like one thing will bloom a lot faster than the other, and that will help you grow the other thing a little bit more. Because you can see, like, these gardens over here are already, like, thriving in the background. And then we have this girl down here, and there's one that's not going quite as far along yet, but it's like something happens kind of in sequence where there's this thing thrives a ton, and then there's like this little garden that you start working on that grows a little bit later, which is interesting because we were just talking about the mentorship thing with the blossom. Remember, it's almost like one mentor figure or like mother figure handing something down to the student and or the like the daughter figure. A few of you, this might resonate that there actually is like a mentorship or like teacher-student or like mother-daughter related thing here, in which case, I think whoever is the student or the daughter to you is also going to thrive. For those of you who are kind of like, oh, that resonates, that's kind of feeling synchronous with my life right now, some sort of mentor thing. That's also, I think, going to have an obstacle cleared, okay? And then last but not least, we have the Five of Cups. Okay, now traditionally this would be a negative card, traditionally, but because this is technically a blessing reading, in which case we're asking like what is clearing here, the Five of Cups in that position then, instead of usually meaning a card of like hardship or sadness, it would mean that's what's going to be released, okay? And I explain that because sometimes in comments people are like, well, you're reading it wrong, and then I'm like, okay, just hold on. They get really angry. Anyway, so I'm not bitter, am I? Anyways, so in the near future, yes, or like, excuse me, the outcome we have in a reading like this, I would read this as a positive card, okay? Because we're asking Spirit specifically what's clearing. So whatever hardship you've been having or sadness you've been having, because that's what the Five of Cups represents, that is part of what's going to clear out of this situation. So I do see a lot of really good blessings here, in terms of not only your hard work paying off, but also, yes, that greater happiness. Now, we almost have that parenthood card again, because it's a robin with her eggs, and she's trying to scare off the snake from her eggs. So we have a lot of like, almost generational type things here as well. So for those of you that did resonate with like the mentor-student thing or like mother-daughter thing, or it could be, it doesn't have to necessarily be mother, it could also be father, whatever, there's something here about like an obstacle clearing for your child and or for the student that you're working with. And or for those of you that are in like the child position and or the student position and you're not the mentor or the parent in the situation, I think an obstacle is going to clear for you in terms of something with whoever is your mentor or parent figure in the situation. That could also be another thing that's clearing out here, okay? Whether you play the role of the mentor or the student or, whatever opposite side of the relationship is. That's clearing. We have that sadness overcoming. And I think too, pile 3, that sadness that's usually talked about with the Five of Cups. I wonder if that's related to that weeping wound. So whatever injured you in terms of your heart chakra and your heart in general with what was going on before, that also is going to clear for you here. Okay. Because remember that weeping wound card. And then as a final part of the reading, I'm just going to draw maybe 1 or 2 more cards. I'm going to ask like how exactly this clears, okay? Because we've talked about what's clearing or what's getting better, but like how does it clear specifically? Like what's the mechanism of change? We have the Sun reversed, which typically would be a negative card, but this is a blessing reading, remember. I always have to add that asterisk because, like I said, sometimes people get angry. Anyways, I'll stop bringing that up, but I read all the comments, anyways. We have the Sun reversed, and then we have the Six of Swords reversed. Okay, so what this means in a blessing reading, because these typically would be negative, is that this is what's going to change or what's going to get better. So there's something with these obstacles. They're going to change or get out of the way through something that comes to light, because usually the Sun reversed is like a lack of truth in some way, or it also can mean like a lack of happiness. That's another interpretation of the Sun reversed. It can also mean too, like light being shed upon something. And then through the mechanism of the Six of Swords reversed, which usually means like we were having trouble in the past, like moving forward or like literally actually tangibly moving. Sometimes it can be a literal moving card, right? It's like we finally make that progress that was blocked before. So I wonder if like a literal move is a part of this, and that move helps you make this progress. Or for those of you looking for a career or a job related thing, it might be that it's a little bit more of a move than you're expecting, but that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Okay. And then yes, the Sun reversed is like light shedding. Let me just do one more clarifier on that Sun reversed. I'm very curious because that's kind of a broad card. Oh, well, there you go. It popped out. And then we have the Six of Pentacles. Charity. Something being made more fair, something more balanced. So it's funny because you had one of the few cards of balance with Temperance at the very beginning. Now you have one of the other cards of balance in tarot, which is the Six of Pentacles. So that means the obstacle clears too through potentially an act of charity that helps shed light on something, that helps you move forward. Okay. It can also mean an act of like greater fairness and also balance or distribution of resources in terms of like being given more money for something. Okay. So because remember before we had that Four of Pentacles reversed, which is like wanting something to be released in terms of funds or resources. That's also, I think, how this changes. So for some of you, literally an act of charity comes forward and someone helps you with this, that helps you, like your hard work pay off and helps reduce that sadness of the Five of Cups. Or they say something to you that points you in the right direction of what move to make. Like the light or the truth of the Sun pointing you in the direction of, where you thought you didn't have any room to move before, now you do, because you're like, oh, that is a direction I can actually move in. Okay, it's something along those lines, and it brings greater stability and greater also, as I said, like financial and like resource-related balance to everything. Beautiful. Just trying to see if there's anything else I pick up on with this particular reading. I think I covered everything. So I know it's really difficult right now. Pile 3, I know, you probably came to this reading probably already worried about what the situation was, but I do see a lot of progress being made. I do see a lot of things improving. I do see what was out of balance before finally coming into balance again, and also not just the outside tangible benefits improving, but also the internal things improving. So I know you might still feel kind of sore from whatever happened in the beginning of this journey that you've been on. You might still have a little bit of a wounded heart. You might feel like, man, I think especially in like terms of confidence and like self-esteem, perhaps like say if it was you lost a job, like no wonder why your confidence kind of gets knocked down, because you're like, oh man, was I bad? Was I not good enough? And what Spirit is saying, remember, with those of you that resonates, like, no, it wasn't anything that you could have changed. It was outside of your control. Okay, so don't let that affect your heart. Don't let that make you feel sad. Look towards the future with optimism and happiness, that you have the potential to move somewhere better, where you're appreciated more, where you're treated better too, especially for those of you that are looking, say, for a new job. And something that doesn't make you feel so bored, okay? Because maybe boredom was another part of it too. All right. Because the Six of Swords is like packing up and moving on somewhere better. Especially because right now it's reversed, but as I said in a blessing reading, the negative cards kind of get read as that's what's going to improve. Okay, so that progress forward. Something coming to light too that makes things more fair, or that act of charity in terms of maybe someone giving you information or truth that helps you move forward, etc. And all those wonderful things. And also for those of you that are already started something new, you want it to blossom, it just hasn't yet. This obstacle clearing is something that's going to move out of the way that'll help this thing that you wanted to blossom through either charity, truth, and the ability to kind of like move forward or in a direction that you weren't either weren't capable of moving in before, or like you didn't know that that was an option you can move in, okay, towards. So beautiful. Wonderful reading, pile number 3. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that this obstacle seems to be clearing for you here in the near future. If you liked the reading, if it resonated, if it helped you, please like, comment, subscribe if you have not done so already. And thank you so much if you choose to do those things, any one of them, if not all 3. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.